We are ready to get this started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vegas, make some noise. Now we're going to take a look as our players drop down to the map. Looking good. First one we're going to jump on board with is Pineapples.
Yeah, so we're going to jump on board with a bunch of them, actually, and we're seeing all the teams' skins looking good for you at home. If you guys would like to support your favorite team in the H1 PL, you can pick up the player or the team packs for $19.99 each over on Steam. Get yourself that parachute and that jersey. Keep yourself looking good.
Dressing well is the only thing that matters in performance. You got to skin it to win it. Now we're going to see Kyrig getting down, and let's actually see how this looting process goes. We talked about it a little bit earlier on today, Jason, before we actually went live, and I think it's really important to bring it back up. We talk about how the meta has been changing quite a bit in our league. One thing that stayed relatively stable is the loadouts that these guys are going to be going for.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that always stays stable regardless of any changes that occur to the game, is that loadout is always going to be very similar. You want to get that TAM military backpack, which we saw Chipsy just grab. You want to stack some helmets. You're looking for medkits. Then weapon loadout. You want a shotgun for that close range combat. You want an AR or an AK or both, depending on your preference, for your long-range engagements. Usually one player on a team will also be carrying a Magnum to destroy vehicles, but the main loadout is going to be shotgun, ranged weapons, and then throwables. You definitely need throwables. Smoke nades are king. You want as many as you can get your hands on.
One thing that has changed is actually going to be in our UI, and it's absolutely fantastic, so I want to let you guys in on it. In the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, you can see that next to every team, there's going to be a little 5 there. That's actually going to represent how many of the players that are up. As they start to drop, it will actually be represented right there. The team is going to be redded out when they are completely eliminated from the competition. Now, last week, another thing that we saw was, keep talking about this meta. The main thing that we're getting at here is the point scoring system has made these players go for kills and gunfights a lot earlier on. But the other thing to note is the rings came into effect last week and slowed it down in a way that we haven't seen it slowed down before.
Very, very accurate. So it's something that is changing. So the games have sped up overall. It is a elimination-based meta now. It is not an outlast. It is outlasting definitely gets you some modifiers. They definitely helps, but modifiers can only multiply points that you got. So you have to get eliminations, which speeds the game up a bit. Safe zone still dictates the pace, though. The amount of cover that teams have access to is really going to determine the true pacing of the match. We may see some early game eliminations. We may see some aggressive plays to take spots from each other, but the actual pacing of the game gets really, really decided by that opening circle.
Well, it's hella hard to have any pace without a computer, so we want to give a major shout out to our official hardware sponsor, Republic of Gamers, for supplying us with 75 computers for our 75 players. We can see right now on your screen that beautiful setup. Thank you once again to Republic of Gamers. And we can also hear that sound, and that's going to mean one thing, Jason. We need to take a look at our map here in a second and see what that ring is going to look like and see if it's going to determine how these guys are actually going to be playing today.
Yeah, so we're getting our first look at the ring. We just heard the siren going off, which means that the gas is going to start closing in on the map. This opening circle is going to be on that west side. Dead center is Salty Tier Lake, which the dead center is usually where teams are trying to get to. There's one cabin there. It looks like Luminosity's already at it, so they might have a bit of hard cover, but the rest of the teams are going to most likely want to rotate more to the western side of that circle. That western side has a lot of trees, hills, a lot of different things you can use for cover, where the right side's a little barren and more of a wasteland on that right side of the lake.
Now we are on board with Prodigy Aces, our Week 3 MVP. He was able to just slay out last week, set to destroy X, just really adapting to the ring, playing it the way that they needed to, and now they're just going to have their full caravan, going to be leading the charge. But Jason,
that's how it actually started last time, right? The caravan came through, Stomp a Little got ran into, deleted from the match, Prodigy got enraged and just went off and wiped the whole other team.
So the other thing that was really important, though, for them last week was that safe zone and how it forced them to play. Is this a safe zone that you think Set to Destroy X can do well in once again?
I think that with the lack of POIs that are out in this side of the map, if they can get some fights in the hills and they can get up into that area and get a good location, I think that they can play this circle very aggressive.
Run to the hills, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if that is the route that these players decide to go for. We often talk about once we see that safe zone, players want to get centered. They want to be right in the center. But because of salty tier leg, like you said, that may not be the case. And now Spirit's going to let out a couple shots there, not necessarily going for a kill. Big thing that he's going to try to do here is eat away from the resources of the team. You put some damage into their vehicles, it's going to affect them in the mid game and the late game. If you take a helmet, if you take some body armor away, you are just taking away from their capabilities to win gunfights later and later on. And with our scoring system, if you can't make it far in the late game, yes, you're going to be losing kills, which are worth points, but you're also going to fall behind on your multipliers based off of placing.
Yeah, and again, for multipliers, for everybody at home, you only need one player up. So that's kind of interesting to see how those guys, when they're the last person left on their team, how they decide to play out of that situation. Do they try and outlast and make it to the next multiplier level? Or do they try and just get more eliminations and try and get pinch plays? And both are viable options, and the pinch play, a little more aggressive, can sometimes help, but it may get you eliminated before you get your multiplier.
Beauty Venom just trying to eat away from Team Solomid, and we could actually see for a second there his heart rate peaking out at about 130 beats per minute. Being from New York, it's pretty much what my heart rate reaches every single time I try to drive a vehicle as well, but he does find a little bit of prey.
You drive
tries to put some
vehicles?
damage into him. I do not know how to drive anything. But we can see Jeesh gets tagged up very hard here, bleeding to
1%
the max.
has to stop. Last moment, gets the heal
actually
off.
At 1% as well.
Yeah, 1%. You have a couple seconds there. It basically ticks like 1 damage per second. Once you get down to 1%, you have a few moments there to get a bandage off. You cannot get a full med kit off. He stops for just a moment, rolls the bandage just to stabilize himself, and gets away. So that bandage saving his life. He's going to be able to get back, get healed up, get back with his team. That would have been a hard one to lose. That's the in-game leader for them. You definitely don't want to lose that guy first in the match.
And you can see him just trying to find a little bit of cover to continue to heal himself up. But one team that's not going to have that luxury is going to be Epsilon. They were our leaders starting things off for quite some time. They just looked so dominant. We kept talking about how well they really were suited for this aggressive playstyle. And now, once again, they're going to be down a man. And that is we keep talking about resources. These shots coming out right now, trying to take resources away from your opponent. The best resource that you can have is going to be a teammate with weapons in his hand, and they are not going to have one. They are going to have 4 players here for the rest of our first game.
It seems like Epsilon's issue has been getting those initial setups that they like in the circle. They got them week 1. I don't think that they've really been able to get a setup in a circle that they like. They're not getting to the positions quick enough. So they're coming into the circle a little bit later than they want. The circle's pulling away from them from their initial spawn selection, which is making it rough for them to get that setup. They play really well when they have a good position that they can play aggressively from. I don't think that they've had a spot like that since week 1.
I think the thing is, though, is the rings that we've seen are very different from the rings we've seen a little bit earlier on. And although this isn't slow, this is a lot faster than what we're used to. We're already seeing these players go out for gunfights, and pretty soon this next ring could actually be a lot of gunfights. That's not what we used to see. It used to be in that ring 3, ring 4, where players would really have to start popping
We wouldn't
off.
see the first elimination till ring 3 if we were lucky,
exactly.
4 regularly. So we're seeing them happen a lot sooner. The gas circles are sped up. The elimination base is what you want for points. It's definitely making a big impact on the game.
But the real thing to note is with this squad in particular, we need to see how flexible they're actually going to be able to be based off of what that safe zone is and how that dictates play style. Because if you can't play every ring well, that's when you'll start to fall behind in the league. And we are in week number 4. Every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. we're going to have matches, and we're going to start to see which team truly is the most consistent. One thing that I do want to say in Epsilon's favor, last week, they lost Balin first every time, and Balin is going to be a big slayer for this team. They are able to hold on to him. Maybe that will allow them to still grab some crucial points as they move further into this game. Gas going to be advancing here in 1 minute and 35 seconds.
Yeah, so another minute 30, as you said there, until we get to this next circle. So we're going to be transitioning out of what we typically call the early game into that mid-game situation. So early game's really kind of getting your loot, getting set up, then trying to find your position in the circle. Once this next circle gets announced and teams really start seeing where the final circle is going to edge towards, is when we're going to start seeing them make plays to get positions for those final circles. You want the circle to shrink enough that you know roughly where the end game's going to be, so that you're not pulling to the wrong side of the circle and taking fights and then having to travel really far. So we'll be transitioning here just in a few moments, actually.
They're not going to have to edge anymore once we actually do see where that ring is. Gas going to be closing in on them, and then they'll actually figure out what that position is. I mean, there are still quite a few POIs that it can pull towards, but look, they're not centered. That's the most important thing to know, because you talk about it all the time. They want to be centered. You want to force teams to actually come to you. You hold that point of interest, and then you just get to slay out. But this time we're going to see Obey and quite a few teams up over to that northwest side.
CLG looks like they want to make a late rotation in. Vitality and Impact also as well. Based on that map, they're trying to make a late rotation in for this circle. Definitely something to try and keep an eye on and see if that works out for them. That is a spot where if the other teams are right on the edge, you might be able to get a pinch play. So if you can get a successful push and an aggressive one in, you can get a lot of eliminations. If you can wait long enough for two teams to engage and come in and clean up both of them, you can skyrocket your points all the way up to the top.
This is a very nice, calm start, but what just entered the map could be one of the things to start to create those fights. A catalyst, if you will.
Yeah. So that's going to be that airdrop. That is going to be where these guys are going to grab the hunting rifle, which is the only location you can get that, which is going to be the one shot to the head for an elimination. Also, it has the 2-hit lammies. These guys are able to take craftables that they get off of the map, shred items to then piece together to make armor for themselves. You can get a 2-hit armor instead of a 1-hit, though, out of those, and that's the only location you can get those. But there's a giant green cloud of smoke. Everybody's looking there, and when you do open it, it shoots off a red flare into the air, so it's a high-risk, high-reward situation. Usually it's drawing some attention, though.
This is kind of what we expect to see from Prodigy Aces, you know, kind of just having his eyes on that location, trying to spray and pray, and you can see him tagging up LG nice and easily here. It is going to be JP2 in his crossfire, trying to see if he can nibble in a shot or two more. And now, finally, that gas is going to be getting a little bit tighter, and our ring's going to move up. And look, the teams that tried to get that positioning, teams like Rogue, are going to be in very favorable positions now.
Something I noticed there while we were looking at Prodigy is he's actually wearing his 2-hit. So that's something that we've talked about in past tournaments. I don't know if we've brought it up yet on Pro League, but it's something that you typically don't see. In long-range engagements, it's usually not worth it to wear your armor because you're not going to get hit quick enough to get dropped. So unless they 2-tap you, which at that point your armor's not saving you anyways. So typically you'll leave those on the ground when you're playing the outside edge. You'll protect those for the later circles. You'll keep those on the ground, keep them in a trunk, somewhere else that you can get to them. He's actually already rocking it. So that's kind of an interesting thing to see, I think.
It is really interesting because exactly what you said. It doesn't really do anything to waste that resource early on. Is this going to be telling of anything? Does he maybe have so many that he's just feeling very comfortable that he's going to put them on? Did their looting phase go better than we expected?
I don't think you're ever comfortable enough or have enough of those. Those are only coming out of airdrops. So to have enough of them, let's say they had one for everybody on the team, they would need 6. They would have to get 3 airdrops to get 6 of them. Now, the airdrops drop in packs of 3, but they would have had to travel and get all 3 airdrops on that opening one to have 6. So I don't think they have enough. I think that he's just rocking it.
I think it's one of those confidence plays too, you know, putting out those shots, trying to chew up the other team, expecting them not to maybe shoot back as much. You make your location known, you hold your ground. Definitely a thing to think about, though, because it's not something that we usually expect our players to do. Prodigy Aces now roaming around the map. We already mentioned this is our MVP from last week, was able to get a massive amount of points for his squad, and that was exactly what Set to Destroy needed, because I believe they have, 75 points now on the leaderboard, Jason?
It's right around there. I do believe it is. Yeah, it's 75. Epsilon in second with 49. Echo Fox sitting in third currently with 47, and Rogue right behind them at 44. So, I mean, the top 5 are really, really close when you're looking at 2 through 5. And then Set to Destroy is kind of outplaying their own game.
The thing was it was the same story the week before, right? But Epsilon was in the leaderboard. This is one of the most dominating leads that we have seen. Are they going to be able to make this more out of the reach of people? We know that there are scenarios at any time a team really can come back in our league just based off of how much a melee kill could be worth, based off of just slaying out and getting that 2x multiplier. But we're starting to see more definitive leads form here, and week 4 can be one of those weeks where we really see one of our squads pull ahead. Will it be our current leaders, or will it be a team that's kind of been slept on? Still 74 players going to be left up on the map. The only team to have any casualties is Epsilon, that team that used to be leading the pack. Will they be able to get something going with this man disadvantage? Now Prodigy Ace is going for these long-range engagements.
This circle is playing out very, very, very slow. It's very similar to the old meta where guys were playing to stay alive. There's just so much cover and there's so many different angles that it's hard to take an engagement unless you try and take a close range one, which nobody wants to do. That's typically a 50-50 coin flip is what we refer to it as when they go in with the shotgun plays. Usually one team is going to dominate that scenario, but you're going to lose players. You're usually going to lose at least one. So a lot of teams aren't comfortable doing that, especially with 73 people still up.
And now all of a sudden we're going to start seeing these kills. And one thing, that was definitely one of the slowest starts that we've seen here in the H1Z1 Pro League. Another kill going to come in though. And you know what that means? When we have a slow start, things are going to go absolutely crazy. Noble going to start pulling down kill after kill. We're going to see Buffalo going down. Only 69 players up. And just like that, they get absolutely melted off of the map. And we're not done yet. It is going to just be lit up like a Christmas tree in our kill feed. They are continuing to fall off. Flamehopper going to pull down a kill onto Shell Shock. And we can see it is going to be those two teams pulling ahead right now with 2 kills apiece.
They have 2 kills apiece. Both those teams still have 5 players up. A couple of these teams have dropped down to 3. Tempo Storm and Gangstars both down a player or 2. Epsilon and TSM also missing players, but we're back on board with TSM. Sloth, that one of the in-game leaders for Echo Fox, going to go down to Nightwalker. CBK Flame going to get eliminated by Lifted. Mountain from Alliance trying to get the play here, looking at Impact. Doesn't look like they've been able to line it up yet. Rogue in a fight on the other side of this, getting shots into MiG, taking out one of the players from Impact. Oh! Blood Inferno gonna take one down before he gets taken out by Mountain. 2 players from Alliance get eliminated.
It's an absolute bloodbath. All we can do is say players' names before they get sent to the grave. A very aggressive shotgun play comes in there. We're gonna take a look right now at a few things that happened. TSM dropped right as that vehicle explodes, is able to take out a member of CLG, get back to the squad. We are going to see CLG with just 3 players up, and Grimmy Bear going to be caught in a very difficult spot as he tries to get behind this tree. 53 players left remaining. CLG still on the hunt, but it's going to be none other than Reptar who takes out FPS. Prodigy Aces, the MVP for this week. Everyone on set to destroy, still standing. How many points will they be able to pull down? Already with 3, but CLG, 6 points with 1 player left remaining.
Candy Van gonna find a kill onto Grimmy before he gets taken out by the nade. So Grimmy gonna return the favor. 2 players from Echo Fox gonna go down to Teenage Shotgun. Crank gonna take him down, and then Crank's gonna get taken out by Crossover. Back on board with Alliance now as they go into a fight against Cloud9. Flowers making the press up towards Colj. Colj gonna get taken down by Frex. Looking at Shades. Here comes Chappie with the shotgun. Gonna get him. Flowers actually gonna be the one to take down Shades, and I believe that is it for Alliance as they get eliminated. CLG currently sitting in first, but they are out of the match. Reptar finally going to go down here to Howie, and Haro gonna die to Chipsy there.
Okay, so we are in multiplier range as well with these top 10 teams. We're getting very close to that 1.5 multiplier range as well when we get to those top 5 teams. CLG, Tempo Storm, a huge explosion going to come in. That's going to change the tide a little bit. Noble, TSM, Alliance, IG, and Echo Fox all going to be eliminated at this point. Vitality holding on with their 3 players. They're going to be moving right now in this vehicle, trying to get out of dodge, still in the crossfire of LG. Rogue, one of those few teams right now. They're an absolute unicorn. They're going to have all 5 of their members. Cloud9 and LG going to be the only other teams in that category, having everyone still up, which means they are going to be extremely aggressive. They are going to have man advantage in these fights. Will it be enough to propel them into the late game to take first place? LG in particular, a squad that could not score a single point until the 3rd week.
Yeah, so LG definitely needs another round today. So they did the big one where Rogue closed that out a week or 2 ago. Need to see if they can go ahead and pull one down again. Rogue's still that player that's in, and they're still 5 up. There's a possibility there for them to pull that off. Epsilon, the other team we were talking about, currently sitting in 2nd, but they're out there in the middle, set to destroy LG, both around them. We've got Cloud9 out in the back. as well. So we've got them stuck in between 3 separate teams. Car on fire for Cloud9 as they come rolling in right next to Epsilon. Car doesn't get blown up. They're able to get away. Chappie gonna get taken down by Apex J. Flower's gonna drop. Imperial Hal down. Adrian down. Set to destroy, and LG are eating them alive.
They just go for that breaching play. Epsilon, they were patient. They only had 4 players. They waited for people to come to them. The bait was set, the trap was set, and now they are ready to just pop off. Now 2 absolute titans in the scene going head to head. It's going to be the leader from the week before and the leader now, set to destroy X against Epsilon, and every team wants to get in, trying to get a piece of it. They're trying to get pinches going. It's going to be Prodigy Aces for MVP, looking for the shotgun fight, but it's going to be his teammate who takes him out. Our top 5 teams now in that 1.5 multiplier range.
One left still up for Epsilon. Radarn still alive there. Set Ana gonna go down to JP2. Radarn right next to the members of Set to Destroy. Stomp a little. Prodigy Aces. They need to take down Radarn. Gas Circle is going to close here in just a minute and is going to force them out of this location. They are going to have to take the fight. It looks like Radarn may have been trying to make a play to go ahead and get out of their. Rogue right here in the wing. 5 players still up for LG, so they're one of the 2 team, or only team left with 5 players left. Rogue is down to 1. Epsilon down to 1. Set to Destroy has 2 members up, and then 3 for Obey Alliance. So Obey Alliance putting some points up. They definitely need these points.
They definitely do, but Set to Destroy, they are in a position to once again, Rogue just got to absolutely rip Radarn out of that vehicle, and all of a sudden LG just looking so dominant on this map, but Set to Destroy X has managed to hold on. You can see Prodigy Aces is under assault here. They have such a dominant lead overall in the league. They want to try to snowball that. Riki gonna be able to pop out and grab a kill. Will LG be able to take down this whole round?
Not sure, but Set to Destroy is set up in a point now that's kind of interesting. They're in that modifier. To get first place is the only bonus in modifier. So now they can just kind of play aggressive and go to get eliminations. I would be hunting eliminations right now. You're most likely not going to take it down to get the win. Yogi going to go down there to Obey Alliance, though, but you're most likely not going to pull that off. Sign going to find the elimination onto Crossover as well. That is going to be it for Obey Alliance. Rogue, 1 player left. Set to Destroy with 2, but we've still got 4 up for LG. LG's in a great spot. Set to Destroy gets themselves another elimination. That's going to take Rogue out of the match. Down to 2 on 4. We've seen them do it before. Can these guys pull it off?
Now we're going to see Just Stomp a Little left up with it's Just Stomp a Little at this point. Already with 11 points for his team. Just looking for more, but he's going to give that point over to LG. Multiplier kicks in. That's 18 points to LG. A team that was having so many problems here in the Pro League. And the thing is we see Set to Destroy X. They can stay aggressive there because they're not worried about this team taking points. So they say, hey, if we can grab any extra points here with that 1.5 multiplier, it will do leaps and bounds for us. They come in second place with 17 points after already leading by so much. But this is what we need to see from LG.
Definitely what we need to see from LG. Taking down, I believe that's their second match if we're talking about just straight winning the match in terms of outliving being in first place. But taking down their second game, that is something that they definitely needed to get going and get traction on. A couple teams that came up a little short there. Team Solo Mid, Impact, and Echo Fox all need to come up a little bit bigger in game 2.